We up here RSG live, getting ready to go. I got the show going. I might have been on mute. I was up here talking and rolling like I was rolling. Welcome to the show. Please go to realsportsguys.com. Check out everything we got here on RSG. Get excited about it. We got a great show coming in here. We're gonna start with some NBA talk, and then we're gonna get into some draft talk. We're gonna have our full draft show next week when Hammer comes back. But we got our own version of Mel Kiper. We got Darnell. And we got a special segment we're gonna drop on them. We always a little bit ahead of the game. We the underground. I think Stokes be still. And they've been stealing our stuff going all the way back to 2010. I see phrases come up that we were dropping, and then everybody else is dropping it later on. Marcus Game Changer done put some stuff out there in the sports lexicon, and we got Darnell. He about to bring his stuff in, and we about to change the way we think about the draft here tonight. But we're gonna start with some NBA talk. But make sure you go to realsportsguys.com. We're gonna be dropping, our new website here soon. We're getting it on the other side of that, so we'll be dropping that out, and then you can catch us on all our platforms. We're gonna be updating over there. We a little into the cook. We got day jobs. Darnell's in school. I'm in school. We the true underground. We true underground, but we're gonna have fun with it. We try to bring it all to you here tonight. But yeah, check us out on all platforms at Real Sports Guys. And make sure you come correct, because we will come right back at you. All right, we got a lot going on. In the world of sports. We got some stuff happening here. We're gonna open it up a little bit. NBA playoffs, man. It's been crazy. It's been crazy playoffs, man. I'm gonna bring my man Darnell Kirkland in. How you doing, man?
And I'm good as always. But yeah, it's been a very exciting start to the playoffs so far. I mean,
Yeah.
you can see the level of basketball. Well, it happens every year, but this year especially, the level really, really, really kicked up a notch, and it's been fun to see.
Yeah, I see you wearing in Arizona. We can't trust him. Well, you make a lot of people cry. They lost a lot of money out there seeing that little thing. People they had the Wildcats in the Final Four, and their pockets is empty. But I know you through and through. You gonna rep it hard. So that's what I love about you. You gonna stay true to it. But hey, I want to talk a little bit about, like you said, there's a lot of storylines, man. And I'm like, thinking about kind of the emerging stories that's getting you excited. There's just a lot happening here. And when I put that question, I was like, wow, there's a lot of ways we can go with this. One of the interesting storylines, just because, like, it says a lot about player development. Like, I saw this young man play in Maui, and was like, this kid is going to be good. But a lot of it comes down to where you go. And Rui Hachimura is like doing his thing, man. You like went to LA, and is like, I think he got like over 20 tonight. They're trying to battle go back, but like when you're talking about, someone, it's funny because so many guys have left the Lakers and blossomed. To have somebody come back to the Lakers and kind of get his game on, and just what he adds in that space, not just for this year. I mean, this is a move, I think, that they saw young talent they got early that I think can be someone in the next couple of years. I felt like when I watched him battle Zion and those guys, those Dookies, and he brought it. He brought everything in that game, and you can see that he had it. But he still was learning and developing. Coming from Japan, and then going to play for the Zags. I like when those stories start to come home. You see Tillman stepping in tonight. Cat from Michigan State, who was six man of the year in the Big Ten. Didn't come out with a lot of fanfare, but just knows how to star in his role. And tonight they need him to step up. Cat just, I love those story moments where cats are stepping into the spotlight, in ways we sometimes see, in March Madness with college basketball. But this year we kind of seeing that in the NBA. So that's just one thing that's kind of like the players who are finding their way into to, to the spotlight. Reeves, some of these kids, who are just taking advantage of their opportunities. What are some of the things that you've been following?
The Sacramento Kings. I
I was
mean,
gonna leave that one for
this is
you.
the thing that I hate. This is the thing that I hate. This series is going. The way the series is going,
Mhm.
all the conversation is about, oh, what's going on with Draymond, what's going on with Sabonis, and the whole confrontation. Oh, him getting suspended. Is this gonna It's just going to cost them the series. Man, the real focus is the Kings. They showed up and they came to play. They won game one. Game one was a great game. It was a great game. Went down to the wire. But game two, that game wasn't in doubt. Mike Brown, he has the blueprint. He's been there. He's been there for a few years, and on top of that, he was assistant under Pop. So he knows what Kerr's going to do before Kerr knows what Kerr is going to do. And you can tell, like, all the off-ball movement and stuff like that. The Kings are ready for it, and everybody talks about how the Kings don't defend, they can't guard. The Kings have been guarding this series, and the pace. And when have you seen a team just outrun the Warriors? And where they can't keep up with the pace, and that's what's going on right now. And it has nothing to do with the officials. It has nothing to do with somebody gets suspended. Because if Draymond Green would have played, they still would have lost, and that's just the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things, and I'm so happy, Mike Brown won, Coach of the Year, and got all votes. He's the first person in the history to get all 100 votes, first place votes. And I've been a Mike Brown fan for years. I remember debating, arguing. I was arguing with a good partner of mine, who, smart and all can be, know his sports, Dr. Damon Williams. When he was coaching the Lakers, and Damon's problem with Mike Brown was he was too affable. He wasn't someone who especially with Kobe, that would be cutthroat. I'm like, Mike Brown is a competitor. And I liked him when he was with the Cavs, but I always felt like he didn't have all the elements of support for him to be the kind of coach. I mean, he already won Coach of the Year when he was at the Cavs, but he never really got credit for the kind of work he could do. You could see he knew the game, understand the game. And so I'm happy that one of the things he said about this job, I think a while ago, was that he was able to come in and implement his full program and not have a lot of folks. I think part of it is that they had a younger front office, so he had a lot of space. He didn't have people micromanaging, but he also had a way that he kind of changed his approach, and got away from just the X and O's, but got into the Joes, developing relationships and doing some of that stuff. And like you said, this team. And one of the things he said tonight, I was listening to his interview when he's talking about winning Coach of the Year. One of the things he understood early on, and this is like important about coaching. He's like, you can't. Sometimes you can't coach for what you want. You got to coach what you got in front of you. And what he realized early on, he's like, we're a team. This is back to your point. This is a team who could play fast. And he realized, wow, we could play pretty fast. And he's a defensive minded coach. you know, let's let our defense catch up to our offense. It might take us all year. It might take us into year two to do the things I want to do on defense. But our offense is way ahead of our defense, and let's lean on that until these guys learn how to play defense. And I think this is your point. He's been working on this all year. You can see it clicking. And one thing about the playoffs, because you got a little bit of time in between games, it's probably one of the first times in a long time where you actually might be able to have some real instructional practices in ways that it might be a little bit different. And you can see that they're in the right place. They're focused on one opponent. And my boy Off Night, he following Steph wherever he goes. He all in it. He bringing all that Baylor stuff all the way over there. So he's got some guys locking in and playing. But as they say on TNT, they can shoot that thing. Man, they can shoot that thing, and they got the spacing. And uh, uh, they got players who don't play scared. Man, Monk is out there like we at the park, and I'm better than you. I mean, and they pick. You see, there's times when they're picking on Clay, and Clay, has a history of being, but Clay is not the defender he used to be. But there are times they're looking for him. It's like they are not backing away from the challenge. And like you said, all the other. Now, the one thing I would say is the league can't suspend Draymond and not address the fact that you have somebody holding on somebody's foot. Like you can't like that action in and of itself.
Well,
When
he
you got
did. He did acknowledge it. If you look at what Joe Dumars said, Joe Dumars is the guy that came out with the decision. He said that yes, that was a factor, but Draymond getting suspended wasn't just because he stepped on Sabonis.
Yeah, but
It
did this
probably came
but
after
did Joe give him a fine? I don't know.
that.
Did,
Not that I know of. No.
see, that's what I'm talking about. Like you can't just let that action go. Like that action is finable, beyond that, even though you might be saying like Draymond was acting a fool with the crowd, and I think it was more about the commissioner being there, a little embarrassed. He clowning right there. I think they had a lot more to do with that. But I think kicking him out the game have dealt with that. He kicked out the game and they lost the game. I don't know if you have to go down, give him another suspension, but you can't do that and not hit Sabonis with a fine. I don't know if they did, but I didn't hear no fine. Like you can't be grabbing people's and like that's the second time, which he was right. The game before he grabbed him again. So like it feels like that situation wasn't handled all the way right. Like for Sabonis to get away from there without a fine at all, given that that's the second time in 2 nights he grabbed him. You got to come with something like Draymond now. Time and place is one of the things I work with students on. Time and place. I work with a lot of activists. Time and place. Sometimes it ain't the time, and sometimes it ain't the place. Draymond misses up on time and place. He one of them cats who just his timing is just a little bit off. He outsmarting the room and he not. He misses out on the time and place. But I was surprised to see the ejection. But and the reason why I didn't like it is for the point that you made. It gets over the fact that they taking it on the chin. Draymond doing that, this is what you'll love. This is your boxing aficionado. Draymond doing that is like the guy who getting beat down and they always hit you with the low blows. You know how that's how
Mhm.
they want to get disqualified. You know what I'm saying? Because the kids were doing some work on them, right? So it was almost like it covers up the fact that I'm outpointing you. It's coming up the fact that I'm outdoing because, like you said, I don't think any of that was going to change down the stretch. Them young folks had decided they're going to win this game. So I was a little disappointed by the league because I was like, especially if they didn't hit Sabonis with a fine. I didn't think they. Now, if you're gonna suspend Draymond, I can see that. But you got to at least hit Sabonis with a fine. You got to at least take some money. You got to take some cash. So Joe, you missed that, and you a bad boy, Joe. You're the last person to be talking about that stuff with teammates you played with. I guess he's probably the right person to put in the job, but I mean, Lambert would have kicked somebody in a minute on the chest if that was Lambert. Rick Mahorn would have stumped on him, grabbed my foot. You messing with the moneymaker. But enough with that. I want to talk about the Cavaliers in New York, man. Man, them cats is going at it. I mean, if you're the Mavs fan, you sick. Brunson out there balling. But man, Cavaliers another young squad, man. I don't know if they go far, but they got the pieces. I don't know how you feel about that. Like they're not as far advanced, I think, where Sacramento is. But man, that's a team with a lot of good work for the future. If I'm a Cavs fan,
Yeah, they just gotta figure out who the fifth guy is.
yep,
They did well. Levert played well in the last game,
yep.
and you saw how as soon as Okoro picked up those two quick fouls, he didn't get back in the game. So I think they kind of find that answer. But I think if you're gonna see something similar to with the Phoenix Suns, um, that fifth guy might change depending on the matchup, depending on what team they play. And I don't think they're going to take the next step until they find that permanent fifth guy.
I think
But I
Okora's
do
got to
like
do with what's my boy who was playing with the Spurs was a great defensive player.
Kawhi
Learn how to
Leonard.
hit, huh?
Kawhi Leonard.
No, not Kawhi, but I mean, what's my man? Man, he was he wears bow ties a lot.
Bruce Bowen.
When he uh
Bruce
uh
Bowen. Like you said it.
Bruce
Yeah.
Bruce was just like him, great defender, struggled on scoring, and Bruce finally said, "I'm gonna learn how to hit this corner three because that's the shot I'm gonna have." And I think, in the off season, he got to start hitting that consistently. He got to find his spot because he got the players who can get it to him. If he can learn how to knock that down, along with some of the other things, yeah, he need to do. He is going to have. I mean, I think he's a talented player, but that's the next part of his game because then he could be that complementary player that you're looking for. Right now, he just can't hit that consistently. But you're right; they need to find, and they need to find that other scorer that they can, that fifth player that they can work through. Man, KD and Kawhi going at it. Uh, uh, you know that Phoenix series is going to be that going to go all about six. And when I look at you know Westbrook, man, that cat in that first game, out of control, but he was making a difference. I never see somebody shoot that poorly but make that big of an impact. And he had then a great second game. So, they did what they needed to do. They got one victory out there in Phoenix coming back. Chris Paul was in his mid-range bag. But I just feel like, they gonna need Ayton to play well. And somebody said it funny, like, I like Ayton, but he got hands like feet. I don't know how he is always dropping. Like, he drops more passes in the lanes, more dimes than anybody know. But if they can get him to play consistently and continue to get him to play, he gonna be the key. But I thought in the first part of yesterday's game, I thought Kawhi, he was
Yeah,
on, he
Kawhi
was
was
he was
looking like
D'ing
the
up,
best.
huh?
Kawhi was looking like the best player in the league
Yes,
in that game. But if we're talking about the Suns, I think the Suns have the same problem the Warriors have, and that's they don't have enough rim pressure.
yep.
They rely too much on jump shots. And they don't have anybody that's going to go all the way to the rim. And I think the Clippers exposed that. And if Paul George was playing, I think I'd pick the Clippers outright. But I think the Clippers going to push them. And if Paul George would come back Game 6, Game 7, I think they might be able to take it. But
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think they're figuring out how to, KD got something, but I think they figured out how to get with KD. uh, you know, Chris had a CP3 had a nice game down the stretch yesterday, but I would bet that all day long. I'll continue to try to wear him down as the series go. Book is the one who could get to the rim, but sometimes he fall in love with them threes. But he's somebody who can attack the basket when he really gets his game going. But I mean, I think that's part of what they missed with some of the moves they had to make to get KD. KD can do that, but he's got to take a pounding. He's got to be battling those cats. He can get to the rim, but
well, not in some matchups though.
yeah, some
The
matchups
thing
they
about
really
it, like
they
some
push him
matchups, like
away.
if
Yeah,
they play the Lakers, they put Vanderbilt on them, and then AD is camping in the lane. Is he going to get all the way to the rim? If they playing boxes and elbows, everybody sitting there gapping off their man, trying to close out on the shot, but they just waiting on the drive. They're not going to get all the way to the rim. They're not going
sometimes you just got to put your head down and go. That's how you get it. Sometimes you got to
maybe
bully
at this
ball him,
stage
but he don't
fragile.
got that in his game. That's part of it. But Kawhi got that in his game, but he don't. That's the part he missing. But that sometimes you got to get to the bonus. That's an art. There's an art when you get to the bonus, and sometimes you got to get to the bonus. So there's many ways to skin it. For them, part of that is Aiton being a force in the middle, and he's just not consistent enough. I mean, I think that's an important part of his game is being a little bit more consistent in it. And then we see the Bucks. Bucks is they got the injuries happening, so we that series, that's NBA TV over there. And then Boston is Boston gonna be resting in a minute.
No,
Boston,
Boston going to the finals.
yeah. Boston got they got everything cooking. Man, they climbed my man White in that hairline. I don't know if you saw that on TNT last night. Oh, they said he had a hairline like Stephen A. Smith. That cracked me
Yeah.
up. I mean, it's like,
But
man,
his scoreline not worse than Trey Young.
I don't know, man. What maybe just the way he wears it, man. All you see is hair before you see hairline. I don't know what to do with all that. But we got a lot going on. We'll hit some more NBA. There's plenty of stuff to go to. But let's get to the real business at hand. Let's get into the real stuff. This time of year as we get to the preparing for the draft, all GMs, all fans, all coaches got one thing they saying. They got one thing. They got one thing they saying. We need more dogs. That's what they want. They all want more dogs. They all want more dogs. That's what we're talking about. They all want more dogs. That's the whole question. That's what we're trying to get. And so we said if everybody wants more dogs, if everybody wants some dogs, we know the person who can find the dogs. And so Darnell gonna give you his draft dogs. These are the cats. He gonna give you a couple of different kind of dogs. There's a lot of different kind of dogs, and a lot of dogs that can kind of get at you different ways. They can all do damage. We don't. They all have dogs like my daughter's dog, who's a little Chihuahua. Who she sent me a picture of him swimming in the water with a little vest on. Now we ain't looking for them kind of dogs. We're looking for kind of dogs, your neighborhood dog, where you don't like walking past that house. That's the kind of dog we're looking at. We're looking for a cat that when he comes into as soon as he get off the draft board, you know he's gonna have impact. And Darnell has been talking about these players throughout our college sports. He's been picking up. He's been naming players that nobody else was talking about. Now everybody else jumping on the bandwagon. So you're gonna see this segment earlier in the year because we tired of people stealing Darnell stuff. Like we're gonna do it earlier, but we got to do it now because we just got to do it now. But next year we're gonna do it earlier so you can see the impact of this. So Darnell, I'm gonna throw it over to you. I want you to just kind of talk about in our first category, these are the big dogs. These are the ones that you see like as soon as they get up, as soon as they walk off the stage, they ready. So I'm gonna hand it on over to you, brother.
Yeah, this is my first dog of the day is somebody that, you know, it seems like I haven't heard anybody talk about them the whole draft cycle. It's because he's safe. It's because his name is never in no controversy. You know what I'm saying? He's just, he doesn't bring a lot of clickbait. But his name is Will Anderson. It seems like we forgot. Seems like we forgot how great this guy is, man. Because the last 2 years probably he's been the best player, well, at least the best defensive player in football, right? I guess two years ago he wouldn't have been the best player because we still had Trevor Lawrence. But last year, man, this is a guy with excellent motor, excellent motor. He's a football like I got the chance to talk to Jack Harbaugh last year at the coaching clinic, right? And he said the highest honor somebody could give to you as a football player is saying that's a football player. And if I had to say anything about Will Anderson, it would be just that. He's a football player. He exemplifies it in every sense of the word. You know what I'm saying? This is a guy that you can rely on. Some people say, he's not Myles Garrett. He's not Nick Bosa. He doesn't have to be. He's Will Anderson. You know what I'm saying? And from day one, he's going to have an impact. I say you can bet on that. Some other dogs, there's some other dogs you're going to hear all the time, like Jalen Carter, probably talked about as the best player in this draft. He's a defensive tackle he can rush the passer. He's great in the run game. If you watch him, I would compare him to I know it's going to sound a little sacrilegious, but he's going to sound like he kind of reminds me of a poor man's Reggie White almost. Like the way that he reminds me of Reggie White with is his hands, right? He has some super powerful hands. It's like the way Reggie White had he'll go to a signature hunt move. He'll fake it this way, and then with his offhand, he'll just throw a big 330-pound lineman to the side. Jalen Carter has a little bit of that in him. It's like he'll hit somebody and be like, "Dang, how did he move this big dude like that?" But Jalen Carter has that in his game. He and when some people question his motor, but when he's on, man, it's a sight to see. How many guys you want me to go in this segment?
Well, give me four in this segment, and then we'll go into the next segment.
All right, so that's two. Devon Witherspoon is my next guy. Man, this is a guy you was talking about. Like you were saying that guys that I was talking about earlier in the year, and people were talking about him as a second round pick, mid-second round pick, and then now since the NFL guy has been talking about him, he's starting to rise up. But yeah, Devon Witherspoon, man, this dude is a corner that hits like forget a safety. He hits like a linebacker. This dude, he's a complete defensive player. He's great in man coverage. You know what I'm saying? He's good in zone coverage as well. Like this is a guy that if I'm the Detroit Lions, of course, we from Michigan, so we see a lot of things through that lens. This is the perfect Dan Campbell type of guy. If you want to bite some kneecaps, you go out and you draft Devon Witherspoon. Yep. And then my fourth dog, one of the big dogs, is Jackson Smith and Jigba. I remember earlier in the year, well, he had his injuries, right? He had his injuries. So he really only played one half of one game, really. But if we saw what he did the year before that, he's the ultimate chain mover. And on top of that, I had the privilege of going to an Ohio State practice last year
Mm.
before the season. Man, Jackson, the way I described him in that moment was he is like Chris Olave's little brother that had the benefit of being in the weight room since he was in middle school. Like the little brother that's bigger, stronger, but he still got the same skills to be working with him for forever. And he gets the ball in his hands, and he's one. He almost has this run after catch type of thing, kind of run after catch kind of deal, almost like Debo Samuel. Not in the not. I wouldn't say it's to the level of Debo Samuel, but that is another area of his game that is very strong. So to round out the top, the top of the top big dogs, those are my four. I had Will Anderson, I had Jalen Carter, I had Devon Witherspoon, and I had Jackson Smith and Jigba.
See, so we giving y'all a little taste of this, you know, and like I said before, we gonna next year we're gonna try and do this earlier, so we'll get out there before all these cats start sniffing around, before all this stuff. We're gonna give you these, like, every GM, every fan, every coach. When it come, I know I am when I'm talking about those Steelers. We need more dogs. Don't bring us no puppies. Don't bring us no chihuahuas. Get us some big dogs. That's what we want when we get in the draft. And so this next group of dogs, I want you to get is like, there's some folks that that you might not know about. These are cats that might be in the second, third round. They might fall outside a little bit. Um, they kind of like, when you think about hip hop, they're the ones who the real MCs know. They're the ones who the underground folks know. These are folks who are in the know. They know these cats are dog because they've been paying attention to them. You know, do you got some folks who are like that, who are, they're not gonna be like, yeah, people may have forgot about Will Anderson, but they knew he was good. Will
Yeah,
Anderson, some of these guys, but these are guys that you've been watching all year. You're like, oh my goodness, if they get this person in the second, third round, oh, they live in large. Who are some dogs like that folks might be under the radar, that might be a little bit outside of that first round talent, that we all know people have had a lot of success with those individuals. Those are guys who end up being Pro Bowlers. Those are folks who have been into Hall of Fame. Those are folks like you, like when you see them in 3 years, you're like, how did they go in the second, third round? Like, who messed up on that one?
true, man. Jonathan Mingo.
Mm,
Man, Mingo, if you don't know, is a wide receiver out of Ole Miss. Um, and there was a point in the season where he was leading college football in win rate against man coverage. Like, this dude is an exceptional player. He's 6'2", big wide receiver. He runs good routes, and he runs well. I think he ran a 4.46. I'm not sure. I'm going to look that up real quick. But Jonathan Jonathan Mingo, he's a guy that early in the season you heard a lot about, but you really don't hear much about him at all now. And like
mm.
I do, I'm one of those guys who does the PFF, the mock drafts. You do start drafting and stuff, and almost every time he's available in the fourth round. He's available in the fifth round. I'm like, really? Man, is this the same guy I watched? Yeah, I was right. He ran a 4.46. He's 6'2", 220 pounds, run a 4.46, run some good routes. Man, and he balled out in the SEC. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like,
Mm.
I don't get it. I think he's comparable, maybe a little better than Treylon Burks. And
Mm.
Treylon Burks, remember last year, he was a mid first round pick.
Yeah.
This guy might be somebody that you're not hearing about now, but on draft day, you might look up and with the 27th pick, such and such selects, and you're like, who is this? Nah, he can ball. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those type of guys. But my second guy on this list is Sam Laporta, tight
Mm.
end from Iowa. Man, this is a guy, to be honest with you, a couple weeks ago, I never heard of. A few weeks ago, not a couple weeks, probably a couple months ago, I haven't heard of. But man, this dude is something else. Like, Iowa, they have a great lineage of tight ends.
Yep.
They all can block. He's no exception. But one thing that separates Sam Laporta is his run after catch ability.
Mm,
Man, you see this dude in open field making moves like he's a wide receiver, and
mm,
he's a big dude too. I'm like, man, no, he really impressed me. He's one of the guys that I have to say, no, he is a dog, and he deserves to be on my list of dogs.
mm.
Number three, John Michael Schmitz. John Michael Schmitz, center out of Minnesota. He's a beast, man. I watched him in the Senior Bowl. I watched him during the season as well. When you talk about the pivot man, the center, the pivot man, this is that guy. You just set the direction to run, especially in a zone scheme type of system. He's your guy. He's real fluid. He has good technique, and he can really get up on you on the second level. So he's another guy that's in my Darnell's dogs list. And my number four to round out this, number four to round up this portion, I would go with another Iowa guy, Jack Campbell.
Mm.
Um, he's not necessarily a first round guy. He's not necessarily a guy that's going to be in the back of the draft. So yeah, he's right around the second. He applies in the second, third round range. But you always talk about guys. We talk about racial bias when you talk the other way. When we had like the MVP conversation, but in this conversation, it goes the other way. You watch Jack Campbell, and you hear guys say, "Can he cover ground? Can he run?" Man, this dude can run for real.
Mm,
Like, and he plays the run. He has good processing speed. He comes downhill. He'll hit you. He can cover in space. I mean, what else do you want?
mm.
This is another one of my guys. I want the Lions to pick up. You're gonna kind of hear that a lot with this, but I'm looking up his 40 time right now. I probably should have had this on here,
Yeah.
but it's decent though. But no, he can definitely move in space. So I think he checks all the boxes for me. So for this portion, I have Jack Campbell, I have Sam Laporta, the two Iowa guys, right? I
Mm.
had John Michael Schmitz, the center from Minnesota, and my first guy was
Mingo.
Jonathan Mingo from
Yeah.
Ole Miss.
Yep. Wow, wow. We get some gems here. We get some gems here. Now we go in this final segment of We Need More Dogs, Darnell's Dogs. You know, these are the under the radar guys. You know, like you've been going deep. Now these are the under the radar guys. This is that when you go to shop at that off street vinyl shop looking for that rare record. You stumbled into something. You know somebody gave you a tip about a stock tip or something like that about a company coming up, and you just like I went to see him. You like blown away. It's like this is that group that you got to be deep into your bag if you're gonna know something about these characters. So this is kind of the under the radar.
Man, my first guy is a guy everybody should know about. He's a guy that's been hiding in plain sight. This guy, Chris Smith. Man, have you ever watched Georgia? Watch the safety number 29, Chris Smith. He comes down, he runs the alley, he's super physical. People gonna say he's undersized, but he's a playmaker. You've seen undersized safeties in the league. Tyrell Matthew, Bob Sanders. A lot of the great safeties have been, smaller guys. And he's not too small to make plays. You've seen it, like in the SEC on the highest of stages, in the national championship twice, two-time national champions. Some of the best defenses to ever play. This guy, Chris Smith, is a certified dog. And if you don't believe it, go back and watch the games. My second guy, Kobe Turner, defensive tackle, Wake Forest. He's a guy. He's he's an interesting guy. He outside of football, right? they call him the conductor, right?
Mm,
Because he actually he's he's in like a music major. I'm a musician myself, so
mm-hmm,
I gotta give him a shout out here. But
mm,
he's like a real conductor. But in the on the football field, he's a freak athlete, and on the top of that, he's a intelligent football player. You know what I'm saying? He knows how to use his hands. He's really smart, and he plays the run really well. He's a guy you're probably going to see round four, right around there, or probably round four, round five kind of guy. But I think Kobe Turner is definitely a guy that I would take a chance on. So
mm,
that's my number two in this on this side. My number three, Clark Phillips, is another certified dog out of Utah.
mm,
Another undersized, because you see a lot of times the undersized guys kind of fly under the radar. They go, fifth round, fourth round, sixth round.
mm.
But man, Clark Phillips, if you watch him, the way he plays in man coverage, he's a certified dog. You know, he's a guy that you're going to see come playoff time, right? Some guys that you're like, where did he come from? Oh yeah, he's a rookie.
Mm,
Oh, but he's making plays. That's Clark Phillips.
mm,
So that's number three. Last but certainly not least, we got I don't even know if this guy should be in this list. Actually, you
mm,
know what? I'm gonna pivot somewhere else. Darius Rush. I'm gonna go with
mm,
another corner. This is a guy I discovered during the Senior Bowl, right? Darius Rush is a guy that guys had been having fifth round, sixth round, but I saw him in the Senior Bowl and he was locking up.
mm,
He has recovery speed. He has because it seems like with all the South Carolina guys, they all have that intensity about them.
mm.
You watch J.C. Horn, you watch Cam Smith, you watch Stephon Gilmore. They have that intensity, and they play with that competitive fire. And you see that with Darius Rush too. But Darius Rush is definitely a guy that you don't want to sleep on, and he's really talented. So that's going to round out my Darnell's dogs today.
Wow. See, this is the opening time we did this. Darnell, you brought it, my man. Oh, there's a lot of gems in there, people. You better check them all out. And we'll be getting this earlier in the cycle next year. Darnell, put our heads together. I was like, we got to get it. We got to get all these people out here. We got to get your segment out here. I love this because this gives us a little bit of insight across the draft where these possible players can go, these kind of difference makers, cats who got that in them. They got something. They got that competitive spirit. They got that I ain't going back kind of attitude. Like when you see them, that's how they get down. They
Yep,
got
and I
they
forgot, and I forgot the last guy. I
mm,
didn't have him written down, but just scrolling through some names, I can't let this segment go without talking
mm,
about that guy Charlie Jones. We talked about him during the combine,
mm,
but Charlie Jones is somebody I believe is going to be an impact player in the league.
mm,
He's the
mm,
definition of, especially those New England Patriots flat receivers.
mm.
That's Charlie Jones right there, man. If you watch Purdue play the last year or so, you can tell Charlie Jones. He's gonna be one of those ones.
So we even gave you a bonus pick.
Bonus
This is how we
pick.
getting down. We gonna make sure you eat. We want to make sure you eat, y'all. We gonna make sure you eat. So that's Darnell's Draft Dogs. Darnell, we'll probably have to figure out how to post this on the website. So we might have to put that list together and send it to me so we can post it on the website so that folks can follow it before the draft. But we definitely want to show love. Thank you for dropping the gems for the people. You listen to RSG1 Mike. We just did Darnell's Draft Dogs. We're gonna drop the mic. The way we've been doing it is, we're trying to pay homage. We're trying to give people their flowers. Um, and there's a lot to be thankful for. We want to make sure we focus on that and give folks their flowers. Um, you know, I figure you might be going with Hamlin probably at some point. Are you gonna go first?
No, I'm
We,
not. I'm not going with Demar Hamlin. You can go with Demar Hamlin.
I was gonna go about, but maybe we might even say that one even for next week when Hammer comes back, because I did want to talk about Mike Brown, because I want to give him a shout out. We've been talking about representation of coaches across sports. NBA is far and above. When you look at it from an organization in terms of the efforts it's done to try to diversify at various leadership levels. Regardless of that, I've always been a fan of Mike Brown. And even when he's at Cleveland, when he was with LA, I'm a Piston fan. I'm not a big fan, but I'm a fan of Mike Brown. I love the way he coaches. I love the energy he brings. And for him to get a unanimous selection for Coach of the Year, first time in history, I just want to throw a shout out the way those kids are playing. I've been trying to give him his flowers over the year, but I'm gonna give his flowers now publicly, and I want to make sure I do that. Congratulations, Mike Brown, and in Sacramento. I had a great interview with assistant coach for Sacramento back in the day about those years with Weber, and to have that city back on track and the energy that's happening. They lighten the beam, and Mike has been able to facilitate that. Is great for NBA basketball. Great for basketball. People who love the sport. All right, I'm gonna hand it over to Youngin.
All right, for my drop the mic, I'm going to talk about another topic that we've been talking about for quite some time, but this time it's in the world of boxing. We've been talking about the best fighting the best forever. We've been wanting the best to fight the best. They haven't been doing it. But if you look at the 135 division, you look at the number one guy, the number two guy, the number three guy, and the number four guy. You look at it, they all have fights signed and lined up, right? And we're getting the number three guy and the number four guy fighting tomorrow, not tomorrow, fighting Saturday. And that's Ryan Garcia and that's Gervonta Tank Davis. And I said number three and number four. It might not be number three and number four, but they're fighting. It's going to be a pay-per-view fight. It's going to be one of the biggest fights of the year. You know what I'm saying? And this is a fight I'll pay for. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm not supposed to say that I'll be screaming fights, but I'm in school, so yeah, I do be screaming some fights, but it's a fight that I will support. Javante Davis, Ryan Garcia, may the best man win, but I'm gonna have to go and pick Tank. So that's my drop the mic. But the second fight that I said because 1 and 2, 3 and 4 fight each other. Um, Devin Haney versus Vasil Lomachenko, they will be fighting May 20th. That's going to be another great fight. That's an undisputed fight. You know, in the Tank and Ryan fight, you might see some guys walking around with some belts, but just to let you know, those belts ain't the real belts. We know who the undisputed champion is, and the winner of that fight is going to have to see the winner of the next fight, and hopefully we live to see that happen. My name's Darnell, and I'm dropping the mic.
There we go, y'all. Well, hey, we want to thank y'all all for supporting us. This is a great show. Again, please go check us out at realsportsguys.com or at Real Sports Guys on all our platforms. Man, Darnell, it's a good one. Good job tonight, brother, putting it all together. We're going to try and, if we can, let's see if we get that posted on the website. Hand that to me because that's a great list. Next week, we'll have Hammer back and we'll do a deeper dive in the draft. And if you have not heard Hammer and Darnell argue over left tackles and guards, it's the most hilarious thing you'll ever get. Hammer will take a position unknown to man, but he come back and think he might be right 3 years later. So to hear these guys debate draft picks is like my thrill of the year, and so I'm looking forward to that pre-draft conversation. And so join us next time as we get deeper into the NFL draft. Until next time, we see you on the side.